Chef Theo Chiloane, right Jovo, GM sommelier at 9th Avenue Waterside, Market geelbek, main picture a crawfish at the table planning pairings for starter dessert. Tradition, religion, heritage. Yours, mine and ours. Here are some key ingredients when it comes to the story of what is cooked in Durban. Flavors, appetites, flavors. Lacking the culinary pretensions of Cape Town or Joburg, this port and resort city's distinctive gastro-experience palate. Because with a nickname like Dirtbin, crime to match dirt, regular stories about sewage at sea, and looting etched into spirit of 2021, notion of claim seems a bit silly. Having said that, this lack of preparation may be partly the secret sauce that adds to the piquancy that creates a unique food culture. Size also matters, given ease of access to lifestyle factors that confuse the positives as a counterweight to the negatives. For R50, I can go anywhere I need to go with Uber, wrote a young doctoral student from the US, who stayed at AirBnB twice before COVID. Though girl, humble, Florida Road, North Beach, Glenwood Bakery, United States KZNSA Gallery Café, Col Tempo, Poke Box all fall into this basin. Prices have increased in the last few years, so R50 could turn into R70. But you got the idea. Recent visits to Durban by a journalist friend from London and the husband of a travel writer friend from California, both came for the same Durban commemorative conference, revealed this story. He wanted me to look at this city where I was born with fresh eyes, left for 25 years, returned by default 7 years ago. Stay. Who knows? Let's get back to these visitors. My London friend had intended to stay with me, in the cul-de-sac where I live off King Diuzunlu close to his conference at DUT. Durban. His wife feared for his safety, so he entered the Umhlanga Hotel. The California visitor who was invited and reserved for stay had a hotel reservation that gave dress as Umhlanga, Durban, which I thought was a bit insincere. My London friend, who dates back to our days at UKZ and then was a journalist here for a while, was on Mercury and then the legendary Periscope magazine before starting big things in New York, London, so he's no stranger to the city. He wrote a letter after his visit. And yes, it made it a point to see our neglected city, to cite it. What I saw before me was a city crumbling at the seams, a lawless place where civil order was rapidly eroding as the city's infrastructure crumbled. No doubt last year's looting hastened previous ones. Recent floods have worsened latter, but at core of this once great city's catastrophic decline is incompetence as well as mismanagement and corruption at national municipal level. There is no discussion about it. Every water outage, cable theft, every new corruption claim, we live with it day. And yet, Durban is a livable city, with weather and an abundance of outdoor dining areas, entertainment that sometimes starts with the KZNSA Café and includes a plethora of beachfront venues. I think there can't be many cities that can hook Durban as a good COVID and post-COVID location. Good people doing creative, interesting things, most of them more or less revolve around food. Independent restaurants abound, especially those that deliver curry. Passionate chefs to livelihood street food cooks. Breathe. End-to-end enjoyable times. My friend's observations woke me up fact that you too have to be doughty and appreciate the diversity of city dig here. Fish with a family tree. Bartho is synonymous with fresh fish. Located in Durban North, so it's definitely not Durban proper, but in my little life it's worth doing a 25-minute fish run every 2 weeks for the quality and flavor of the fish I bring home. Invincible in this neck of the woods. And why? When stunning fish is served when dining at Round and Durbs, it always comes from Bartho. Other than that, when comes to fishing with a family tree, it sometimes means Bartho's fish and other times to market fish. When comes to 9th Street Waterside owner Leona Chetty Sewram. Market fish translates as fish infused with tradition, heritage and human lineage. If you are a Durbs native, You will no doubt know that it was the Indian fishermen who founded the Durban fishing industry around 1870, after they were released from their contracts. See this link for an overview of thumbnails. You will also know that by 1885 many ancestors of Durbanites of Indian descent leased land to grow fruit and vegetables in order to quickly dominate the local produce market. South African History Online Indian Community for a good concise backgrounder. Finally, 2 weeks ago on Tuesday, I met Leona at a stylish fine dining beach restaurant. He pressured me several times to see where he got his market fish, which made it onto Chef Theo Chiloane's menu and a list of pairing suggestions coordinated by the sommelier and GM Jovo. The Victoria Street Fish and Meat Market is like a family barn to him. His mother's father, his mother's brother, and a few others in the family tree sold fish, still sell fish. Business is passed from generation to generation. It goes on for generations. We support each other. If you buy from Bartho's, you're fine. But with many other fish shops, you don't know if what you're getting is fresh. Some chefs have expertise, but these guys can lie to me. Still in the market because they are family, I know I can trust them. They'll send me on WhatsApp and say, "Leona, a boat has arrived with special fresh fish caught off the South Shore. Why don't you come and get your restaurant?" Variety is spice. While waiting for family fisherman Ayub Khan, Leona and I come across what was formerly called Fishmonger Lane, but the sign seems to go to the Victoria Street Market. I'm on a mission to see a certain spice girl written about before in Durban's eclectic markets. A tour of these markets is my recommendation for any overseas visitor to Durban who wants a must-do thing. Putting this story together, I asked over a dozen random people what they thought of as Durban food. To one person, everyone replied, curry. This brings us to Sanusha Mood Layaponen after a long research. The shop I remember was bigger. But then I noticed the familiar Sanusha. She learns that she is shrinking. Why isn't it a good story? It's a Durban story. The case is in court now, says Sanusha. His mom and dad started the spice business before the historic old Indian market burned down in 1973, read some history here. Wrapping the land has affected the spice shop, because it is smaller. Fish trader Khan says he's been helping out with the fish business since his school days, when we contacted him. His father and father ran before him. However, none of her children, who all went UCT and are now married to their children, one take over. They're all accountants, he laughs sternly. How is the fish cooked? Get involved.